Conrad, thank you so much for spending some time with us today to talk about Fylde, the project and your own career.
Not a problem.
So how long have you been at Fylde now?
I've been here for 3 years in total. I joined halfway through the 16 to 17 season when I took over the previous manager.
Yeah.
I ended the season with the team there. We had some really good results at that point and some that were a little bit disappointing, but it was the first 4 months of my step in charge, and after that we progressed, and I think we're continuing to progress as well.
Yeah, it's obviously part and parcel of coming into a new team, isn't it? The results don't always go your way exactly straight away, but was there any sort of mantra or anything you imposed upon the team that kind of got through that period?
No, I mean, when I came in, it was slightly different to when a new manager comes in. Kim Turner, who's now my assistant manager, was the temporary manager at that point, and they actually had some really good results. So when you go into a new team, normally it's about kind of injecting some life into them, giving them a bit of belief and confidence, and trying to push them in the right direction. But they were already doing well. So for me, it was trying to impose a style of play that the players were comfortable with, and I felt we had good players at that time that could move the ball well. They were technically very good, so we gave them a platform to play football on, and at that point as well we were playing at Mill Farm, which is a great service. Again, we're doing the same this season, so it was more or less just giving them a platform to play a type of football that they were going to enjoy, and then we tried to end the season on a high.
So obviously your time before Fylde, you were at Man City, you worked with the development squad with the boys into the men, and also you were part of the women's development squad, weren't you? What was that transition like between the male game and the female game? What was it like for you as a coach?
It was big on two aspects really, because the boys at Manchester City I was working with were young, so 8, 9, 10 year old, and obviously from that point I went to work with women players who were pushing on 18 years old and the younger ones at 16. So in terms of the difference of age, obviously the detail of what we were coaching and how we were working changed, but also how you had to approach your sessions. We could kind of take away that relaxed feel that we used to do with the younger ones, and it was more focused on them enjoying the football and obviously developing. When we went into the reserve team, we were in a competitive league, and the emphasis was on winning games, but at the same time developing the players to get into their first team. We were successful with that. Esme Morgan was one of the players that worked with me for around about 2 seasons. She's just gone on loan at Everton now and featured in the Man City women's first team as well, so she'll push on and she'll do really well, like a lot of the players have done from that squad.
Must be really rewarding as a coach to see that end product with people you've helped work and grow their career. Like how rewarding is it seeing moments like that happen?
Yeah, it's rewarding to know that you've worked with them and you've had some sort of an impact, whether that's a minimal impact or you've really kind of pushed them into the right direction. But the players, Esme in particular, the players that were in that squad were really self-motivated and they knew what they had to do to achieve. And Esme in particular, she's done that off her own back and she's done really well and deserves where she is at the moment.
Looking from the outside in, Fylde's an amazingly exciting project. What's it like being part of that? What's it like from the inside?
It's fantastic. I mean, to be at a club where the men's team want you here and want you to progress, and the conversation since I've been here is always about the team progressing, whether that's us finishing as high as possible, getting into the top 3, or us ultimately getting promoted into the championship. That's always been a conversation that I've had with the chief executive and the chairman. But in terms of the facilities that they provide for us, I mean, we're training at their brand new facilities just down the road there. In terms of our match days, we're here at Mill Farm. We use the same facilities as the men's team. It has a big impact on us as a squad, off the pitch more than on, in terms of we're getting more fans coming to watch our team and ultimately watching women's football, but also for the players as well. It's a really good feel for them to come to train here twice a week, and then especially on a match day turn up at this stadium, get to use the changing room and obviously go out and play on probably the best pitch in this league is fantastic. And that's why last season I feel we did so well at home. We were unbeaten. We utilised the pitch that we've got here and we made the most of the facilities, the resources and the support that we get.
Yeah, we've just had a brief look around the facilities and outside there on the pitch. They are amazing. You've just said yourself that you remained unbeaten at home. Would you reiterate that that's something that really involves the women in the winning mentality, more as being involved on that kind of level?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us, it's when we turn up on a match day, it's not the same scale as the men's, but in terms of the staff that we have here, the guys that work behind the scene to make things happen, to obviously advertise our games, to put programmes out, to put bums on seats, so to speak, it's a really big push for us, and it shows that they want us to get the fan base in. They want us to do well, and that's the same when we play away from home. Obviously, I mean, little details make the difference. Our travel's looked after. The club makes sure that if we go, a long distance, we stay overnight and things like that. And those details have a good impact on the players psychologically when they're preparing for games. It's not rushed. They're not having things to think about. It's a case where we're prepared and we go and play for 3 points, and the club help us secure those 3 points when we do so.
Yeah. So Conrad, you spoke a lot about the mentality of the squad and how you've carried on this winning mentality over the years you've been here. Do you have a philosophy of play that you've instilled in these women as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a philosophy that we follow on the pitch of how we want to play football. That's mostly utilising the strength that we've got in the squad. We've got really key players that have played at this level for a number of years, or they've played at a higher level. So they've obviously have a big impact on our squad, and we try and utilise what their strengths are. For us, first and foremost, we want to get 3 points, and I say to the players every week before we start the game is that firstly for us, we've got to outwork any opposition that we play against. We've got to do more running, we've got to be willing to tackle more, head more, and be aggressive enough to make sure that if we can, that we win the game. I think once you got those principles out of the way, you can then focus on how you play football in and out of possession. In possession, again, we've got players with fantastic technical ability, so we try and use the ball, we try and play out from the back, and we try and create as many chances as we can to obviously score goals and win games.
Yeah, of course, and that's evident in the style of play and the results that you guys have been pulling in. So just a bit of a change of topic. Obviously, the World Cup was a massive event for women's football, and it's really put it back in the spotlight where it deserves to be. Have you seen an immediate reaction within the women that you manage and the fans as well? Like, have you felt this upturn of support within the game?
Absolutely. I think just kind of going back onto the stadium here, we've got a bar in the stadium, we've got a cafe, a restaurant here. So I'm here every single day, and we see fans because I'm here in the evening, the daytime. And since the World Cup and since kind of the start of the season, especially, we've had fans coming to myself talking about fixtures, results, when they can come and see a game.
Yeah.
We've had people coming in terms of numbers. We've seen a massive increase in our attendance, and we've only played here once so far.
Yeah.
We've got 4 games back to back at this ground, which is going to be huge for us, and we think that will increase that attendance. And that stems from the World Cup. I think that the coverage that the media provided on those games, in England in particular, was fantastic, and it's put us on a really good step in the right direction to appreciate women's football, to know what it's about and what these players are capable of. You see Manchester City and Manchester United playing at the Etihad, 30,000 plus fans, and
incredible.
I think it says it all. Down south in London, they're getting 25,000 fans in for another derby there, and I think that really shows the increase in attention for women's football, and I think that will only continue.
So obviously you've got the big game coming up against Derby, continuing your impressive run of form. How are you feeling about the game? Are you all hyped for it?
Yeah, I think you've got to be confident going into any game, especially when I look at the players that we've got in our changing room. I'm always confident in every game to go and get a result if we carry out our game plan well enough, and if the players perform on the day. That's the big thing. Derby in particular this season have made some unbelievable signings for their team in terms of the standard that they've brought in, the experience within their team, and on paper, they're probably on to win this league if you look at it. And I don't mind openly saying that results probably haven't gone their way as what they've expected, but for us, we'll turn up at their ground and hopefully get a result. Last season for us, if we kind of reflect on that, we played them at home first. We were successful in that and took 3 points, and also away was a different story. There was only 1 goal in between it, but it was a really tough game, and it was a fight on our hands, and I'd expect the exact same again this time. And for us, we've got to go and be prepared to put the work in to come back to Fylde with 3 points and hopefully get higher up that table.
You obviously had a really strong squad at the end of last season anyway, but you've added some quality to that. There's a few new faces knocking about the club now. What's it like having them involved? Have they brought in that extra bit you needed?
Yeah, they're brilliant, to be fair, the players that we've brought in, not just in terms of their ability, but the character of the players that have come in have really improved our dressing room, which is really important for me because we need to have a good team around us, and that's staff as well as players. But just before I talk about the new signings, I think last season, what I was really pleased with is the players that we retained. Every single player that I wanted to remain here at the club for this season have all stayed and committed to us again, and they've started off really well. Our senior players, in terms of Danielle Young, our captain, has led from the front in every game, and she does that on and off the pitch. Jenna Carroll, our vice captain, same thing. I couldn't fault probably one of her performances so far this season. But as you mentioned, new signings have been fantastic. Georgia Stevens has joined us now after a half a season long loan. Last season, she's now with us as a Fylde player. We've signed Jodie Redgrave from Derby County. I know we mentioned them earlier. She's come across to us, and I think in that game in particular, she'll have a great impact, as she has done already. She scored five goals in 4 games so far in all competitions, and that has also matched what she did last year at Derby. So for her, she's on the front foot and she'll continue to score, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, that's an incredible start for a new signing. It must really put a boost in an already, challenging squad. It must just be that edge that kind of sets you alight on the training pitch, really.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I want difficult decisions to have. So
Yeah.
my players, whether they're in the starting 11 or they're in the squad or on the bench for certain games, they all need to challenge each other. And for me, if I can get every single player on form and fighting for a shirt, that's fantastic. And I think that's where you get a team that is going to challenge and be up there at the end of the season.
You spoke about the new signings, we spoke about the upturn in attendance. It's all really positive stuff, and it's testament to the project that is Fylde and yourself and the squad. So what's your long-term goals as a club, and for yourself, where are we seeing Fylde in a few years' time?
I think first of all, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. This season in particular, our focus is game by game to get 3 points and not to look at the next 2 games or the next 3 games, but to focus on the game at hand. Obviously for us, similar to the men's team, they have an ambition to get into the Football League by 2022. We don't have a date on it, but for us, we want to play in the Championship and we want to play at the highest level in women's football, and I believe that we can do that. The foundations that the club provide us really put us on a good platform to achieve, but for us, and the pressure's on me to make sure that we do achieve with that platform they provide. For myself personally, I want to progress in football, whether that's in women's football, men's football. I want to be a coach and a manager. I want to help people progress. So for me at the minute, I'm really happy at Fylde, working with the academy, working with the women's team and doing just that.
Incredible. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. We really appreciate your time.
Coming in.
Wish you all the best for the upcoming season.
Perfect. Thank you very much.